Waiting for it to go live. Okay, we are live.
Yep.
Okay. Come on, full screen. Come on. There we go. Okay. All right. Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another episode of We Are the Weirdos Book Club. I'm Brendan the Beldam, and this is...
Hello, I'm Horrorhead Heather. Welcome, weirdos.
welcome. So this month was my pick, and I picked Jennette McCurdy's debut novel, Half His Age. A very, very... I wouldn't say it's not a weird book for this kind of club, but it's definitely something. So yeah, first we just spent the last last 20 minutes in the backstage just talking, but for the people watching, Heather, how have you been?
I've been well, thank you. No ice storms this month. It's sunny and 70 here in the great state of Tennessee. All is well. Just getting ready for the pollinating. So if you are a fellow allergy sufferer, please start taking your medication now so it builds up in your system. How have you been, my friend?
Oh, I've been doing good.
Good.
It's nearing the end of it is the last day of February.
Yup.
And we're already getting pretty high in temperatures here in California. Like it was hot today. It's like that season just cannot wait to come back again. I'm just like, usually we just have to wait until in California we don't really get like a spring here. We get like 2 months of winter, and then 8 months of the year it's just summer heat. It's miserable summer heat until autumn rolls around in like late September. Maybe mid October when things start to cool down again. But it's just a sweltering mud ball around here in summer.
Nice.
But not for the character of Waldo, who lives in Anchorage, Alaska.
Yeah.
I envy her because it's pretty cold where she lives.
Yeah. Alaska seems just so beautiful. All the pictures and videos I've seen. My problem would be the daylight, how it gets so dark there in the winter.
Mm-hmm.
I would miss the sun, like coming out. I feel like I would get depressed a little bit just being in dark, or I would be so tired because my body would think it's dark, so it's time to sleep. But yeah. This is the second book that I can think of that is set in Alaska because Crave was also in Alaska.
That's right. But there are no dragon people, there's no vampires, and there's no werewolves in this book. Only
No.
a very icky relationship between a 17-year-old and her teacher.
So what made you want to pick this book?
Well, I've been a fan of Jennette McCurdy ever since her days in Nickelodeon when she was working as a child star. Specifically, like I grew up during the era where it's gross now after seeing the documentary quiet on the set. It's the dark side of children's television. After hearing everything that these kids were exposed to, and just like, if you want to know more, watch the documentary. But not knowing all that back then, I was a fan of like shows that Mr. Schneider had a hand in,
Mm.
and iCarly was one of those shows. And I wasn't aware of the stuff that he was actually doing to these kids, specifically like Jennette. So I was already like a fan of her, and I didn't read her. I didn't read her autobiography. Like, I'm glad my mom died, even though I want to.
I do too.
This is the first real. This is her debut that I've actually read because I was curious to see what kind of like writing style she would have,
Mm-hmm.
and she actually wrote like a pretty good like adult novel. And this is not like a young. This is not YA. This is very very adult.
Right. Yeah. I was just curious because I was aged out at that point of Nickelodeon. So this is my first exposure to her. So
Mm,
I had to look up after the fact. I was aware of her because of her first book, which I'm very interested to read. But yeah, um, I knew nothing about this book except for when I read the synopsis and I was like, oh no. I was like, oh, and it's fiction, so it's very interesting that she chose to make it fiction. It felt like she put a lot of herself in here.
yeah, I think you could see some parallels. Like, I don't know her personally, but I think you could see some parallels that she would put in with her and Waldo.
That's what I got too. It felt like almost like a stream of consciousness, just her spewing her thoughts out, injecting herself into Waldo, and just kind of telling her story is how she feels comfortable telling it now.
Mm-hmm. I kind of like that she was very direct in her writing. She was very blunt too.
Mm-hmm.
It's specific in some specific scenes I read where it was just like, oh, oh, if you know like what scenes I'm referring to, because I saw your notes on the creepy, not the Weird the Weirdos book club on Fable. Please give us a follow, or please join
Yes.
the club.
Oh my gosh. I love okay, so me and Fable are getting along now. So now that because I am ignorant when it comes to technology. So now that I know you can actually like put notes in there and it breaks it down by chapter,
Hmm.
I'm so excited to do that for all the other books now that I can put my thoughts as I'm reading it and then after I'm finished kind of write a summary on paper and be a little bit more coherent when I'm actually talking. So, yeah, I was reading as I went and so that was super fun to do. Did you read it physically with your eyeballs or did you use the audiobook as well?
I use a combination of both. I read I read the book physically while also
Mhm.
listening to the audiobook because if I can't find the audiobook or if it's like out of my price range, like if I can't buy an audiobook, I'm forced to read it physically.
Mhm.
I have problems with that because I don't like to read out loud because I have a terrible
Yeah.
voice. But sometimes it can't be helped. So I did read slash listen to this, which the audiobook is narrated by Jennette herself.
Right.
And Jennette has kind of like a very, as you said, she has like a very monotone voice when she's
Yeah.
reading as Waldo.
Mhm. Yeah, that's what I was asking. I prefer to do the tandem read like you do, listening and physically reading. I
Mhm.
cannot listen to just audiobooks by themselves. my brain does not work that way. I'm such a visual person. I have to look at words on paper.
Same.
So I was able to get the audiobook from my library, and she talks so fast in the audiobook. Like, my preferred speed is around 1.5,
Mhm.
depending on the accent. And I had to slow it way down because
Yeah.
she talks so fast and very deadpan, very just clunky. So I listened to the audiobook about halfway through, and then I abandoned it and started over and just read it physically, and it was a little bit better. It actually bumped it up half a star for me. I don't know. I was just like, I can't. It was very, there was no inflections in her voice. It was just one way, and it felt very clinical. It actually reminded me of like doctors dictating their notes, or if I'm reading or writing nursing notes, it's just short, choppy sentences. And I wasn't able to latch on as much as I wanted to. So that helped me. So just letting everyone know, the audiobook I was not a fan of, but you might be, but it did not work for me.
So if it was narrated by someone else who kind of had a more distinct voice, do you think you would like it a lot more if you listened to it like on like if it was narrated by someone else? Like because you said I know because you said you gave the book itself just like a 3.5 or something.
Oh no, no, my friend. I was giving the book a 2. And then I abandoned the audiobook and I settled on a 2.5. But Chris Hemsworth himself could have narrated this book and it would not have been higher than a 3. Just
Well,
because,
really, that
like,
would have
I
been
know you said you were a fan of the writing style. That is actually on my list of negatives that I have, was the writing style. It was not as descriptive. The sentences weren't long. I just didn't like how it was written for something that is fiction.
I can understand that.
That's just my preferred.
I liked that Waldo wasn't quite as like uh I think as a character, how would you describe her? Like I don't think she was like as like I guess like self-absorbed or something like that. Um
No.
did you like her character or did you
Yes.
like you did? Okay.
Yes. So as a character, I did like Waldo. Even though I didn't like how the book was written, I did like Waldo as a character because I felt for her so bad. I just wanted to have her as a foster child and let her live here with me. So this is a 17-year-old girl. She's an only child. Her mother, we find out, had her at 16. She has an absent father. And her mother, I mean, she was there, but she wasn't there. She was an exotic dancer until she aged out of it. And then she works night shift all the time. So Waldo pretty much had to grow up. She didn't really have a childhood. So the book does, like, one of the positives I will say, it does a really good job exploring toxic relationships and exploring like generational trauma. Waldo did not have the tools or have an adult around, so she only learned and mimicked what she saw, which was pretty much the same thing her mother was doing. But I appreciated her being blunt. You always knew what she was thinking, which I love when people do that. I don't like, it's one thing to be kind and nice to people and try and spare their feelings, but don't lie and just don't beat around the bush. Just be direct. I appreciate that. I always appreciate honesty. So Waldo is a character I loved. I mean, she had a good work ethic. She had a part-time job. She pretty much was paying the bills getting her own groceries, buying her own car. I felt for her. So I really liked her because she called people out on their shit all the time if she didn't agree with it. So I was like, good for her.
I could
Didn't
agree
like her name. Her name drove me crazy.
with.
But
uh, yeah, she was very. I want to say she was very self-sufficient. Um, like you said, she was very. She had like she had like a relationship with her mom. Um, was it probably the greatest relationship? But her mom obviously cared for her. She, even though she wasn't around a
mhm.
lot, but she was always caring for her. She was always like she had like a um you know there was a quote like there's like a quote in the early in the book, like I think it's the first chapter, where she's like something about like um okay, it's he says, maybe it's me, maybe I'm the problem. My mom called me hard to love when I was 7, and the phrase always stuck with me, even though she swore she didn't mean it 20 minutes later. And 2 days later, she denied that she ever said it all.
Yeah. That made me really sad because she was 7 and that was one of her first memories. So at that age, her mom said, no, I didn't say you were hard to love. I said you were too much. And at that point, she has got it in her brain, oh, I'm too much. So from then on, it's like she shrinks herself
Mm-hmm.
so she can't be too much. And it sounds like she does like just verbal diarrhea explode what she actually was feeling because I think she just is numb most of the time in the book. And so I was like, I think Jennette is the way she was reading it was trying to display that, her being so numb, her reading deadpan, but it did not work for my ears. I was like, I think it was intentional. Yeah, I just the content of the book is not for me. I felt so uncomfortable, and I know that's the point, but I didn't like it. That's just a personal opinion. As soon and that, and so I even said in my review, I had bias going in because as soon as I read that it was a 17-year-old girl who is a senior in high school and her creative writing teacher who is a 40-year-old man that is married and has a 2-year-old
Mm-hmm.
get together. It just that is too real. It happens in real life and I don't like
Yeah.
it. Like it's one thing um for me to read like some dark romance books or some smut where it's like having sex with dragons or having werewolves nodding, like that's fantasy, it's not hurting anybody. This just felt too real to me, and immediately reading that, there's a power dynamic that it's just not going to end well for her because she is a child and he is her teacher and he is married and it is illegal. And I was just like, it made my stomach hurt the whole time. So,
It's a pretty valid reason. Because you're right. This kind of stuff, this kind of stuff is based in reality, sadly. But throughout the book, she's 17, but he's an adult. So, um, I think Waldo, like, she said she has a pretty, like, clear idea of what she wants, but at the same time, she's still, her brain, I think, really hasn't kind of, like, evolved quite yet, where she knows exactly what she wants because she's looking at this and like, is this going to be like long term? Because she only wants like him. She only wants Mr. Corgi, her teacher, for like a lustful thing. Like she's not looking at the bigger picture of like, okay, he is married and he has a child, so she's moving in on him with the intent of basically fucking him.
Mm-hmm.
And she wants that. She just wants all that desire because she herself is feeling insecure. Um, and she tries to make the effort to go out with someone her own age later in the book. But yeah, I get where you're coming from. I mean, like I said, this is very adult. This is not like a young
Mm-hmm.
adult. This is definitely not a children's story.
I wrote
Um,
that as one of my positives too. I was grasping at straws for positives. Okay, the cover. I do appreciate the cover because a
uh,
lot of
it's
books
it's
that
very simple.
it is. So, you know, if you go to Target and you're in middle school or you're in high school, that this is not appropriate for you unless you're like an older teen, someone that's a junior or senior in high school. Because a lot of other books, they'll use like cartoon characters, or it'd be like, I don't know, like the Pumpkin Spice Cafe just had buildings on it. But then when you're like, oh, that's a cutesy little cozy book. But then you start reading it and there's like graphic, spicy sex scenes. So at
Yeah,
least this was not false advertising. I do appreciate
yeah,
that.
exactly. I got mine at Walmart. um, I think it was placed like they I think they only have like one aisle for books, and they put like all the children's books on one side, and then all
Hmm.
the other like all the adult books on the other side. Like all the adult to teenagers is on one aisle, or like they're all in the same aisle, but like it's the adult books are on like the far left, and then
Hmm.
all like the children's stuff is on the right. So I was looking for this book specifically when I was like, because I wanted to go to Walmart to get some movies, and I just saw the covers. Like, oh, I have to get that because that's our book talk of the month.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I think more honest books should do stuff like this. If you're like going to be direct about what kind of nature or what kind of like you know what kind of material is going to be inside your book. I think the cover should actually display that as well. Like you said, it
Hmm.
shouldn't be like, a false advertising. It shouldn't be like, oh, this is going to be like a cute little kid's book. Then you read it and it's just like, oh, it's about two fairies and two raccoons fucking.
Yeah, it's like, whoa, jump scare. Where'd that come from?
Yeah. So yeah, just like being more honest about the kind of books that you actually want to promote or sell, and put them in like the areas that are actually appropriate for,
Mhm.
you know for depending on what like the reader is. If it's an adult book, put it with the adult books.
Yeah, I think that would help a lot
It
with
really would.
people with wanting to ban books. I think that's why a
Oh
lot of
my
people
gosh.
get turned off just because it's advertised as one thing, but then you get halfway through and someone's kid or something is reading it and it's like, oh, if people are just honest and they put things where they should go and like, hey, this is the trigger warnings, this is what's in this,
Yeah.
like this is not for you, so don't even go in that section. I think that would help a lot. I think it was very interesting in this book also. So the whole book, it's 288 pages. It's a shorty.
Mhm.
And the chapters are super short. There's 88 chapters. So the chapters are like sometimes they're one email. And I think the
Right.
most was maybe 5 or 6 pages. Goodreads right now, this came out on January 20th. So it is a very new release. Goodreads, it has a 3.44 and Storyograph it has a 3.54 and it's only got 20,000 reviews on each one. So I think people are kind of mixed on it right now because
Oh
they
yeah,
really don't know what to think about it. Um,
I've seen mixed reviews on it. Some people like it, some people didn't. Thought it wasn't for them. I think I gave it like a 3 point.
I think
Like a
you were
3 point like
3.25.
3 point like 75 on Fable and like Storygraph because can't do that on Goodreads.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I was just like right around like that gray line. It's like I enjoyed it. That's it's I think it's a well written book, even though the story or like the like uh what is that term, the material or whatever it is. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? If it's not going to be for everybody, because it's a very adult book.
Hmm.
But
Yeah. It does. Yeah. I was having a hard time. I'm like, what is this book trying to say?
I don't know who do
And
you think this book is aimed for, personally?
like, I think the ending honestly saved it for me because I was like, this is just a straight up 1 star if it would have ended a certain way. But the way it ended, I was like, okay, I do appreciate this is not for me as somebody that, has not been assaulted, has not been groomed, has not
Mm,
experienced any relationships like this. This is not speaking to me personally. This could help somebody else that they could look for red flags, or if this happened to them, they can kind of realize that it's not my fault, or wow, I was being gaslit the whole time. So it is for a certain type of person. It's just not for me. I thought it was really good writing about relationships because it's very character driven. There's not really a lot of plot. It is a whole year. So it's the
yeah.
summer before she starts her senior year of high school. It ends the summer after she graduates. So it's from like August to August. And we meet Mr. Corgi in chapter 3. Her relationships, she talks about her mom, which they don't have the best relationship. Her mom ends up being in
It's not really.
SLAA. Yeah.
It's okay. Her relationship with her mom, I wouldn't say it was toxic. It wasn't abusive, but her mom was there, clearly there, but at the same time she wasn't. She obviously cared for Waldo. She was always like checking in on her, and she was always making sure she was okay. But Waldo was in this state where she I think she buried like she wanted to kind of like cope with the idea of some kind of like some loss, I guess, for a relationship or how she felt as a person. So
Hmm.
she threw herself into just like obsessive compulsive shopping. Like she
Yeah.
bought stuff online and maybe in stores as well, stuff that she didn't really want, and then she regretted it because she put like the majority of the money she worked for into buying these products. Like she would buy like clothes and makeup and stuff, and she wasn't like like in love with it, with the idea that she was just like compulsive buying stuff.
Hmm. Yeah. As soon as she was like, I got this adrenaline rush. And
Mm-hmm.
as soon as I hit like confirm and paid for it, it instantly was gone. Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting. So her mom was talking about at the end of the book that her mother, so Waldo's grandmother, and her dad, so Waldo's grandfather, she saw their relationship, and her grandmother was on pills and was having affairs outside of the marriage. Her dad was on alcohol and was having affairs outside the marriage. So essentially, Waldo's mom had to kind of raise herself, and she saw those relationships. Then she met Waldo's dad, who we never get his name because he's not in the book, he's just mentioned, and they end up getting pregnant. She has Waldo at 16, and she thought it was the love of her life. She was like, they were high school sweethearts. And Waldo was just very blunt about it. She's like, I think my dad just thought of her more as a fuck buddy, and it was a one night stand. And all her mom talks about is like beauty. How, if you want to keep a man, you got to wear this certain mascara and you have to look a certain way and you have to do your hair and you have to do your nails. Her
Mhm.
self worth was tied into what men thought of her. And then it took her years. She's in her late 30s, and a coworker's like, why don't you come to this meeting with me? Because I have noticed you go from relationship to relationship, you're stalking these men, you're getting just obsessed with them. And she ends up going to SLAA, which is Sex and Love Addicts Anonymous, which is a real thing. And it's kind of like Waldo was talking about her mom, but she was doing the exact same thing. So it was just very interesting how the end of the book, to me, it felt like her leaving kind of broke that generational trauma and broke down, like, her grandparents did it, her mom did it, she did it for a little while, but she was self-aware enough to like break the cycle. That's what saved the book for me.
Interesting. Uh, so there are a lot of sexual like scenes in this book.
Yeah, they're
Oh yeah,
awesome.
it is. It's this scene. This book is pretty freaking spicy.
Opens up with it.
Yeah, it opens up literally with Waldo like fucking her. I
Her
guess you call him like
boyfriend.
her boyfriend.
Yes.
Because I don't know if she has. I don't know if she has like any like true feelings for him, but she's just
Yeah.
kind of in it because she just wants to like. She just wants to like, you know, like she wants to be felt up and just get that, that D, and then it's just like I don't think there's any, I don't think in her head there was any real meaning to it. It was just kind of like
Mhm.
a wham bam, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, that's what she says. She says on, like, what is that, page 5? Sex always falls short for me. It feels clunky and performative, clumsy, perfunctory. Like, it's just, two body parts that are mismatched puzzle pieces fitting together. And it says this is her third person that she's had sex with, and she felt nothing for any of them.
Hmm.
But she was saying this guy, she was saying I close my eyes and start imagining I'm somewhere else with somebody that I can connect with. So there's something missing there, that she's
Yeah.
trying to connect with somebody on a deeper level and she's doing it physically, but they immediately break up after
Hmm.
they're done. Like,
Yeah.
he takes the condom off and throws it in the trash, and he's like, should we break up? And she's like, yeah, we need to break up. So
There's no like
enjoy,
real.
enjoy the
That's
rest of your
literally it.
summer.
That's literally it. It's like there's no like big there's no like big arguments about oh I can't live without you and I can't like do this without you and blah blah blah. It's just like okay, we fucked. Want to break up? Yeah, bye.
Let me pick up my dirty sock and clean myself with it.
My
I'm like,
dirt,
man, I was like,
my
we're starting
dirt,
out. Y'all are nasty.
my
Y'all are
dirty
nasty.
crusty sock.
Off the floor. Like, you can't literally go to the bathroom that I'm sure in this house is right down the hallway. I was like, oh,
I was like freaking when I read like certain scenes in this book, like how they were described. I was just like,
that is a yeast
I
infection
was
waiting
fucking
to happen.
verge. I was on the verge of just like, I guys, I freaking like I watch like a ton of I watch a ton of horror movies and like there's only like a certain stuff that actually makes me want to like vomit. And some of the like descriptions in this book, holy shit, they are they are graphic as all hell.
I was like this. I was judging the whole time. I won't even lie about it. I was like, y'all are nasty. Nasty. Yeah, something else that bothered me. This is probably just me. Um, so there's like 3 chapters in a row. Chapter 2. When I get home, I kick off my shoes, take a leak, and then throw some toilet paper away, and then clean using mom's favorite hand soap. I don't know many females that say take a leak. They say I gotta pee, I'm going to the bathroom, I have to piss. Take a leak. That just sounds so weird coming from. I was like, that's just a me thing. I thought that was so annoying.
Yeah, I don't know. That didn't really bother me.
Yeah, I was like, it's
That's like
probably me
she's
thing.
very. I don't. You would describe like Waldo as very feminine, but also very kind of just like masculine in a way.
Mm-hmm.
I would say she's kind of like she's got like a tomboyish thing to her, where she buys like all these like feminine products, but at the same time she's just like okay, she exhibits like stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and then chapter 3 starts in where we meet Mr. Corgi, and the first thing he talks about is he's a failure. And talking about like he wanted to write a book, but he was not successful at writing a book, that he lived in Florida, him and his wife and his kid moved to Alaska, and he's talking about like his truth and just being raw and open and vulnerable. And apparently this does something for her because she says my vagina pulses. Just that's the sentence. And it wasn't about him being a failure, it's him being able to call himself one. So I think because it even said like he's not the most attractive like man, attractive, I guess by societal standards. But I think this is the first person that has ever truly been honest. And that's what she was attracted to because her mom's not too honest with her. Her like best friend Franny is her friend, but it feels more of an obligation because she's of Mormon faith. And it was just talking about, like, oh, I'm doing this, I'm so good. I have this friend over here and I'm friends with her, and she's doing it for her. And like all the guys that she's having sex with, there's nothing there. They're trying to like wear these masks and be something they're not. But this is the first person that's not pretending. And I think that's what attracts her to him. And then she all of a sudden is like, I don't know how, but I'm going to make him mine. So that she's on a mission now.
Yeah, when she wants something, she goes for it. Like I'm just gonna like it's gonna stop her.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's a couple of scenes where she starts to get involved with Mr. Corgi and his wife. She meets his wife a couple times when
I thought that was so weird. I did. I don't understand. Like, that was the first red flag for me. Why is this man and his wife inviting a student to their
Mhm.
house for dinner?
Yeah,
That was so bizarre for me. Like, no.
I think his wife. I think his wife seems like a really nice person, but
Mm-hmm.
Corgi is just so unhappy currently in his life, and like he feels like he's being suffocated. Even though he's got a pretty good life with his wife, it's like it's not like I don't think it's an abusive relationship or anything.
Mm-mm.
He just wants something, and the more that um, Waldo pursues him, the more he begins to give into like this side of him, this animalistic side where he wants her, and at the result of like demolishing or just like ruining his relationship.
Yeah, it got me. So chapter 20. So they go to dinner because she emails him and he's like, why don't you come over to dinner? And then she texts him or she emails him and is like, this is my number. Like, this teacher should not have your number. That's inappropriate.
Yeah.
So she's at Thanksgiving. Her mom chooses a guy over her again. Even at Thanksgiving, she goes to Franny's house, and during like the meal where the father is praying over the food, she gets a text message from Mr. Corgi. So she excuses herself, and she's like, "Oh, this is my mom. Let me take this." And he is home alone, drunk, and he's like, my wife and I don't spend holidays together because his mother-in-law does not like him. So Gwen and Gregory go visit his mother-in-law, and I was like, oh no, he is like talking to her, and she's like, maybe we can go for a walk sometime. And he's like, no, I gotta go. So then the next chapter, the day after Thanksgiving, he's drunk again, and he's like, hey, do you want to come on this walk with me? This was one of the good quotes that I liked because they go on a walk. Right now, it's innocent, nothing's happened yet.
Yeah.
And she says, we start our walk. He asks me about my future, and I ask him about his past. And something in that feels heavy. The assumption that my life is ahead of me, but his is behind him. That 20 years is the difference between a life that's considered yet to be lived and one that's already considered over. Now, if she had wrote like this the whole book, that long sentence with meaning, I was like, oh, that is heavy because she's 17 and he's technically 40, so he's already like middle aged. Half his life is over, but hers is just starting. And so she slips. This is where I got bamboozled because I was like, oh my gosh, maybe this book is not what I thought it was. Because she slips on the ice, he catches her, she kisses him.
Yeah.
Okay. He immediately pushes her away and says no. And I was like, good for you. This is probably not going to go where I think it is. He says, you kissed me. You're 17. I'm married. I'm your teacher. This is inappropriate. And she's like, are you going to report this? And he says, no, I'm not telling anyone. If anyone found out, I'd be fired. Of course, you know you're going to be fired because it's fucking illegal. Like, you can't. If you get caught, you're going to go on a sex offenders registry and you won't be able to teach because you can't be around minors. Like, dumbass. There's a reason. There is a reason why. I was rooting for him a little bit, but yeah, I got bamboozled. That he says no for a while. He does say for a while. Her car's fucked up. And then oh, and then when she goes back to school after winter break, there's a substitute teacher. And Mr. Corgi's not there. And that's when she can't deal with her feelings. She gets so obsessed. And 10 days later, they have the winter formal dance, and she went with somebody else, and she sees him there, and she goes in the classroom, and he's like, my dad died. It was not about you. He's like, sorry, my dad died unexpectedly. I had to go take care of that. And she's like, oh. And then this is where it takes a turn. um she starts dry humping him in the classroom and filling him up, and they have like their first sexual encounter
Mm-hmm.
with that. But you got to remember, like, I read this review that someone's like, it's Waldo's fault. She's a stalker. She's the one that came on to him. It doesn't matter. This is a grown ass man. He knows right and wrong. You're not telling me that a 40-year-old man cannot physically pick up this 17-year-old girl and get her off of him.
Right.
That's what he should have done. He should have been like, okay, something's going on with you. We're going to the guidance counselor and we're going to get you some help. It should have stopped right here. It did not, though.
There's more.
Yeah, so that was the first one. And then it just takes off from there. What were your thoughts? Were you bamboozled at all? Did you think he would like turn her down or?
I was honestly thinking about, okay, what if the situation was reversed? Like it would still be icky, but what if it was like a male student coming on to like a female teacher?
It's still the same thing. It's
Yeah,
just, yeah, I don't see difference. I have a son and I have a daughter, and it doesn't matter. It's illegal. They
yeah,
cannot consent. It doesn't matter how much they say they want it. They're not of age. They cannot consent. It doesn't matter if they show up naked and throw themselves at you. They can't consent. There's also a power dynamic because he talks about him being um, her teacher. It's inappropriate. And then she flips it later on
I ask
when,
you something. Let me ask you this:
uh-huh.
when you were in school, was there ever like, this is completely blunt? Was there
Yeah.
ever a teacher that you kind of had like feelings like this for, like, you couldn't do anything, but you had those same like feelings that Waldo did for Mr. Corgi, even though they were an adult and you were like a minor.
Mm, most of my high school teachers were female, and I'm straight, so no. But when I got to college, I had a couple of college professors that were attractive. So, but I don't know, there was a line for me. I'm like, they're my teacher. It's just not happening.
Yeah.
What about you? I was like, because I'm assuming most teachers are female. So,
Well, I didn't have a teacher in high school that
hmm
I had a crush on, but there were there was one teacher in middle school. I'm not going to say names,
yeah, no.
but I will say there was one teacher in my middle school, as well as a teacher even in elementary school, who I did have. Well, not like, she wasn't really. She. I was a part of a speech system
hmm
where I had to go, like, it was part of my IEP, where I had to go and take these classes to help with like my, speech, to
hmm
like, so I could like talk well, because I was very like, you know, I'm on the spectrum. So, but yeah, there was some teachers I will say that I had some feelings for, not like quite as intense as Waldo, but because I was still a kid,
hmm
but I just did have like these slowly developing feelings for them. Like, I don't know what to call them. They were just like mild crushes, to say the least.
Yeah, but that's appropriate. Like,
Yeah,
usually develop that you get crushes, but you don't act on them, and the other person doesn't act on them. And if you try to, that's when they sit you down and explain why it's wrong. Yeah, I was like, once we got to this part, because I think the first time they actually have like sexual intercourse, was at her house. He was drunk yet again and comes over and they do it, and it just kind of goes from there. It's always like I felt bad for her because it was never at his house except for the one time near the end. It was always at her house. He's married, so he would text her and she would have to be ready in 20 minutes. Or like there was
like,
one scene they were in like a broom closet having sex on the bucket of dirty mop water and in bathrooms and cars behind dumpsters, like, real romantic places.
should we tell everybody about the scene that made
Uh,
us both like want to gag?
there was multiple, like, Tom's bottle. Do you remember that at the beginning?
There was a scene.
And
when
then chili cheese fries. Like
yeah,
she like to like why if this girl is such a compulsive shopper, why could she not get like an appropriate sex toy if she wants to masturbate? She used a random Tums bottle and I'm like, those are square. Oh, and then she saw him in a restaurant while she was eating chili cheese fries, doesn't wash her hands, and starts masturbating in the bathroom with chili cheese fries. I'm like, that's a yeast infection waiting to happen right there. Like,
fucking burns, probably
burn
burns.
and.
Cause she's smearing it all over like
That's a,
her clavicle.
oh, that's a
But the one
spicy Jana. I don't know.
I'm gonna take like the freaking like the scene that really just made me want to just go, oh my god, no, no. When she's fucking when her and Mr. Corgi are at his house and
Yes, the
she's at
one time
and
that
she's at
they go to his house.
and she's in the closet with him and she says she's on her period and then he starts railing her while she's on and it's called I call it the bloody sausage because when he pulls it out of her and then she's like freaking she says that all her period blood it starts coming out, it starts pooling all over his carpet in the closet while he's outside talking to his wife because his wife comes back home early.
Yeah, they got interrupted. Well,
And then
first she
she's like,
says, slap me in the face with your bloody dick.
with
I was like, oh.
your bloody dick.
And he goes, pardon? Are you sure? And she's like, yeah. And then it was describing it like coagulated blood clots on it. And the wife, of course, comes home and he's like, hurry, run, hide in the closet. So, I mean, it must have been a heavy flow day for her
Oh
because
gosh.
she was in the closet just sitting there and she's like, I got a cramp. My uterus is cramping and the blood starts coming out and she's naked and she's trying to like catch the blood with her hands, but bleeds on the carpet in the closet while she's watching his wife try to seduce him. Yeah, that was chapter 66. It was pretty
Yeah,
far
I was looking
in the book.
it
Yeah,
up.
'cause it starts out like she has this, what she calls the bin. So, like, she's at his beck and call anytime he's like, oh, okay, Gwen's gone for, we've got 2 hours. And if she's not ready, she's got this bin where she's got like washcloths, extra clothes, makeup, razors, and she happened to be on her period and so she doesn't want evidence of her being there. So while she's in the car, she takes her tampon out, wraps it up, leaves it in the car, and then goes inside. And my whole thing was too is did he clean that blood up or did he leave that for his wife? Because we never got resolution for that. Who cleaned up that menstrual blood stain in the carpet in the closet? He would have to, or he would have been caught.
So yeah, it's page. What is it? Okay, it's page 211, where she says, and I quote: "The pulse of an oncoming gush of blood swooshes through my uterus, then through my cervix. I cut my hand underneath as the blood oozes out, gelatinous clumps and mucousy, goopy strings of it. I try to contain the slimy flow in my hand, but it slides through my fingertips onto the carpet underneath me."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't even think like Stephen King would get this graphic with when he wrote
Carrie,
like
is that
Carrie,
you?
Carrie's like first period. Like I think he would get as like quite that detailed. I mean,
Mhm.
don't get me wrong. Like it's a natural like it's a monthly occurrence for like women. Um, it's just like the whole it's very very detailed. And
Mhm.
do we really want to like hear about this? Like when people say like in Throne of Glass, for instance, like Sarah J. Maas tells, like she says that her main character has like she brings up that her character has like a she's on her period too.
Ah, really? I
I'm just
haven't read
like,
Throne of
okay,
Glass.
well, yeah, like that's okay, like to actually like bring up stuff like this because we're all human as part of our bodies, but to talk about this in like such like detail and it's just like okay
Yeah, Jennifer's body did it better. You got a
what
tampon. Looks like he looked like you were plugging.
oh,
Needy. Yeah. So of course he says he's getting a lawyer. He's gonna leave his wife. She graduates high school. Yeah, the part that I was talking about was they actually after that they did break up for a little bit. Like Waldo breaks up with him, but she's still in his class.
mm-hmm.
So she decides she doesn't feel like turning homework in anymore. And he says to her, "You got to start turning in your assignments or you're not going to graduate. I will fail you." And she says, "No, you won't." Like the power kind of shifts because what's he going to do? If
Yeah,
she says anything, like she has his
yeah,
ass.
she's
Like
got this
she's like, "No,
power.
no, you won't."
Yeah, she's got this power ballad over him now. It's like
I was like,
okay,
"Good for
like I
you."
like literally I am like she went after him, but he like you know gave in to her
Mm-hmm.
as like an adult. So she has like that card that she can play if it ever came to it. Like, yeah, I'm a minor, you're an adult. And if I wanted to, I can get you fired and I could have like your marriage, which she actually does this. I can destroy your marriage just by coming clean to your wife and tell her
Mm-hmm.
what's going on. And it's like at the very very end of the book, um, he's like, "Yeah, I confessed to my wife I confessed everything to my wife. I want to be with you." Like he keeps sending her he keeps sending her messages, telling her
Yeah,
like,
he's
"I want to
unwell.
be with you. I want to be with you. I want to be with you. I want to be with you." And I'm just like, oh. And then he actually does like leave. He leaves his wife, and he has this whole thing where he wants to take Waldo and go on like I forgot it was at the very end of the book. They were going somewhere they're at the airport
To Hawaii because they
to
had
Hawaii.
talked about on one of their like dates
Uh
that
huh.
they had. Even her 18th birthday when she turned 18, he wanted to take her out, and that was the one time because she said he already had a nagging wife. I didn't want to be the nagging girlfriend too.
Mm-hmm.
So every time the wife would call or text, he would have to answer or else she would catch on. And Waldo's like, "Oh, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine." And then on her birthday dinner, she got really pissed and she's like, "Do you have to take calls from her?" And he's like, "Yes, I do." And she's was just talking about like their fantasy was time was still and there was a world they could be together, and they were talking about going to Hawaii and having like macadamia nut coffee and wearing leis and watching the ocean. And then he gets a lawyer. Moves into this hotel. There's him and his wife are split up. Waldo pretty much moves in with him at the hotel, and their relationship starts falling apart a little bit. There was one point where she's like, "Today's the day that I woke up, and it was the first time I didn't really want to have sex with him," and that's kind of weird. It's like once she got him, she didn't care anymore. And so, as like a last ditch effort, he's like, "Oh, I bought us tickets. We're going to Hawaii."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he's looking at it like he's looking at it like it is like a serious relationship, which
Hmm.
yeah, it is to him. Like, but to Waldo, she was like, I don't. She just wanted him because she was like had this like insane like lust for him, but she wasn't looking at it like long term. Like,
Mm-mm.
okay, this is like I'm not gonna like a serious relationship with someone means commitment, and she put herself in this position. So when they're at the airport, she just decides to leave him and just
Hmm.
goes on her way.
Yeah, I loved that.
I liked it too.
Yeah,
And
because it said that it's like her mind would tell her one thing, but her body would tell her stuff. Like she would not listen to her gut. You know how everybody's like, "Oh, what does your gut tell you?" Like you have just intuitions. And this is really the first time she did.
it's
On page 270, chapter 86, she's in the bathroom and their plane's boarding, so he's blowing her phone up. And she said I put my hand on my heart, my tender, sensitive, strong, roaring heart, and I thank it. I leave the restroom, rolling my suitcase behind me. I walk in the opposite direction of the gate towards the exit to the airport. I walk past all the restaurants, the candy shops, perfume stores, clothing boutiques. I don't look at anything and just walk past. So she's like leaving him, leaving her shopping compulsion, everything. Oh yeah, and the chapter before that is when her mom um went to her SLAA meeting and she was like, I'm really sorry. I was not the best mom for you. I'm gonna change. And she's like, I am starting this program, and part of the program is I'm not supposed to have contact with anyone I've ever had a relationship with for 60 days. And Waldo goes home, and her mom made it 11 days, and she found her in bed with her boyfriend Tony, which happens. Like, addicts, you do relapse sometimes. And she's like, oh, and she walks out on them too. Yeah, and then the very last chapter, the last page, chapter 88, is her listening to music with her curly hair blowing, her hand out the window, and she's going on her own somewhere, like kind of just leaving everything behind.
yeah.
I was like, good, because if she would have stayed with him or, didn't realize it years later, I would have been really upset. I'm glad that she left.
Yeah, this is a pretty unique book.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing really that I mean it's really it doesn't feel anything like we haven't read before. I mean, we've probably
Yeah.
read a lot of stuff like this before, but I
Not the
think we're
whole book, though. Like, there'd be like, this is just like the whole book.
yeah.
I had a hard time rating it. Like, like I said, the positives. I have the cover of the book. It was not misleading. It wasn't cute at all. The character of Waldo, I thought she was complex and flawed, but very believable as a teenage girl. She's
Mhm.
self aware enough of her shortcomings, and she's very honest, direct. And then I loved her ending. Like, good for her for breaking the generational trauma, getting away. My hope for her, because you don't know how it ends, is she goes to college, she goes to therapy, and she lives a good life. So that's what I'm going to believe for Waldo. Also, the third positive that I have for the book was their relationship between Waldo and Mr. Corgi was not glamorized at all. It was not romanticized. Like, it was written for him to be an unlikable character, and then meeting up was gritty and gross. It wasn't like this, like, I don't know, pretty woman situation where he's rich, you know?
Yeah.
And that he starts out first, he's not a willing participant, but he does eventually give in. So, yeah, I'm still at a 2.5. I will read from Jennette more. I just hope it's different material because, like I said, I just didn't want to read about it the whole time. If it was one sex scene, it would have been okay and just exploring her kind of figuring it out. But man, when you got 4 or 5, it was a little too much for me.
Yeah. As far as like debut novels go, I think Jeanette really did good with this one.
Hmm.
I don't know if I would put it on my like top favorite books of the year, even though like because it is a very well intended and like adult book.
Hmm.
I I don't know. Uh, I think I would just like give it like a 3.25 just for because I think her strength is in her writing. Like she's very like I do like the character. I do like how she writes characters as like realistic and not like like sensationalized or romanticized.
Hmm.
Because with this kind of like story, it would be weird if it was like romanticized. Like she writes with like a very very almost personal like touch to like the characters.
Yeah, I don't know who I would recommend this to.
I think I would recommend this to someone who likes complex storytelling and like real, almost like realist fiction.
Yeah, because I was like, I don't know, the story is not going to be for everyone.
No,
I don't know anyone in my life that I'm like, oh, a really good book.
yeah, I don't know anyone in my immediate life outside of like you and some of my friends online who actually read, but because I have like I don't know a lot of people in my life that actually do like enjoy reading as much as we do.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think if Gory B movie, if she would read this book. I don't think this is a book for her.
Maybe Destiny would read it. Just
Yeah, I think Destiny might read it. I don't think she would like it.
uh,
I know, so I'm trying to think of people that might read.
our
That
friend
I'm like,
circles aren't full. Like our friend circles don't like have a ton of readers, do they?
mm-mm.
Oh well, you can't force people to read, and that's just how it is. So, well,
Yeah. Did you have any final thoughts or anything?
like I said, it's a very well written book for a debut. I
Mm-hmm.
will definitely read more of Jeanette's books and just to see like I want to see her writing evolves or because I don't want her to be like a one trick pony and just like writes the same like material over and over again. Like
Yeah.
I want when I get like into a new author and I start to read like I read like their earlier material and then I see like as their writing progresses I'm just like okay like I like this like I want to see more from this author and it's like yeah you know
I've heard great things about her memoir, her nonfiction book. It actually won Goodreads Choice Awards and like when it came out in 2022. a lot of people loved it just because it was just her telling her story. And I
Mhm.
normally don't rate memoirs just because, like, how do you rate give someone's life story a
Yeah.
star rating, you know? But it's everyone's like, it was well written, like, she had a lot of humor in there, she put her heart and soul into it. It's won many things. And then a lot of people I saw picked this book up and they're like, the fuck? Like, it was the total opposite. So
Yeah, because
it's like just
one is
the
fiction
difference.
and one
Yeah.
is a person telling their life story.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, there's that. Don't have to think about that book. Now that I got all my
I,
thoughts out.
I
I'm
was
not going to
so
get rid of it. I wrote in it and I bought it, so I'm going to keep it. Don't know if I'll ever revisit it, but it's there.
I, I was so curious what you were gonna think about this book when we did this book talk. It's just like because I know because you said in our last stream that Eric was like, "What is that book that Brandon picked?
Yes.
what is with that cover?" I was like, "Oh, I picked something that's probably pretty gaudy." It's like I don't know, like I'm almost afraid to kind of like I don't. I'm almost afraid to like pick out the next books because
Nah.
of
I was
what
like, I
like
don't think
what am
I've
I
picked
gonna
some
what
great
am I gonna
ones.
subject you to on our next read? I'm like poor Heather. She's gonna be like I don't know. I think I pick out some pretty like I guess like controversial books. Like
Well, I'm
I
trying to
have
think
a stack
what.
of books like on my I have a stack of books behind me on my bed and I'm gonna see if I can pull some of them up. I just bought a couple of books. Oh, I got both American Psycho and I got Victorian Psycho.
Oh, okay. I want to reread American Psycho. This actually reminded me a lot of American Psycho just
Really?
because, yes, just because of the stream of consciousness, like I was talking about, like that book. It gets very repetitive because he is so consumed with outer appearance. So, like, every day he wakes up, he spent this much money on this lampshade, on this, his skincare. It's very just the consumerism and just getting all the things that you don't need. And it's deadpan. And that it kind of reminded me a lot of that because that's very character driven too. Victorian Psycho, that one was interesting.
I'm excited to read both of these.
Yeah, I think
I
I
I
gave.
I love the movie. I love the movie version of American Psycho.
Yeah, see, I've seen the movie, both the American Psycho and American Psycho 2, American Girl. And then I was like, let me read the book. I wanted to reread it because I don't think it's one of those you have to read multiple times. I gave
Hmm.
it a 3 because I didn't quite understand it, but I kept thinking about it. And then the more I kept thinking about it, more things popped up. But it's just one of those books that I think it was written in 1990 and the language is awful. It's like terrible. So many racial slurs, so many homophobic slurs. I mean, just left and right. Just prepare for that. Like
Yeah.
talking terrible about people that are experiencing homelessness. So if you can prepare
Yeah.
yourself for that and
You
just
know.
read it, because he's a not a likable person, but he is.
Well, yeah, he's a narcissist.
Yeah, it's yeah.
You don't get
As
like I got that kind of like I did get that in the movie quite a bit. Not quite to the extent where he was just like dropping the N word every other you know every other line.
yeah,
But
it's
we
like
got
that
enough.
in the book. So
I was like, okay, have you seen like this new, I guess it's like a trend going on Instagram where you pick like these people are like posting two completely different movies.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if you like this then you'll like this.
Oh, okay. No, I haven't seen that.
Well, it's like if you like American Psycho, you would probably love like Serial Mom
Oh, okay.
because those it's strange. Those are completely different, opposite movies and like tone. I mean, they're technically both comedies, or
Mm-hmm.
like dark comedies at that.
Yeah.
But if you like kind of like these like psychopathic people, but with kind of like a humorous edge to them, you would probably really. Have you seen Serial Mom?
Mm-hmm.
You have.
I love it.
I love it. I gave that movie and American Psycho 5 stars. It's just like
I love it.
so good.
When she
I could
starts
watch it
calling
every.
them on the phone about pussy willows and making all those crank calls, it cracks me up.
Yeah, we were talking about like doing like private watch parties. We gotta like watch
Mhm.
Serial Mom at some point together.
Oh yeah, that'd be a good one.
Oh yes,
Yeah, I was gonna say I have that one on Blu-ray.
yes. The shop. I got like the Shout Factory release of it. I think I just like people. I think I just like reading books about like completely deranged people.
Yeah, I like psychological horror is my favorite. I like to look into people's minds on why
Yeah,
they do things and what has happened to them to shape their mind. So, yeah, most of my favorite movies are like from that early 90s era.
yeah. People. I I love movies. I love films, but I love books just as much. If I had to pick like a choice between, okay, if you could have like a choice whether to just like watch movies for the rest of your life, but you have to like get rid of books, or you can have you can have books for the rest of your life, but you have to like get rid of movies. What would you pick?
That's hard.
I think I would just I would I think I would pick books, to be honest. I love movies, but there's like some stuff that you can like do in books that you will never be able to get away with doing in movies. Even like the artsy movies, like they have like they get they get like their edited stuff out.
Hmm.
But when you're reading, like you could picture the stuff because it's in detail. So you get like the full course meal without having any of those annoying edits.
Yeah, books are more of a commitment too, because on average, movies are an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Pushing like
And
almost three now.
yeah, I know. I know.
Mm.
So I don't know. I feel like I pay more attention to detail and I can fully lock in when I'm reading. I don't get as distracted. And then books, you're inside the character's head, so you can hear what they're thinking. Whereas movies, unless you're really paying attention to context clues or subtle hints, you don't always know what they're thinking. You just have to assume.
I think with movies, I tend to get more tired because I'm usually just like lying down watching something.
Hmm.
And it's like, okay, you have to completely give your full focus to what's happening on screen. Whereas with books, it's just you and the author, and just you're like working together. The author is writing the words, but you're actually like you're giving the whole media meal your attention. You're doing the majority of the work. You're bringing the words to life inside your head. Whereas when you're watching a movie, it's like a team of people putting something together, but it's another person's vision. And that's kind of like why I mean what I mean when I say I love movies, but I love books just as much.
Hmm. Yeah, that'd be hard. I don't know which one I would pick. I would have to think on that.
I just
If it
haven't.
was like a Saul situation where Jigsaw's like, hey, you have to choose in the next 30 seconds, my instinct would be movies over books just because I am such a visual person. But it's like, it's close. So we did The Winter People in January, and we did Half His Age in February, which was two more heavy hitter, like,
And it's a fitting novel for February since it's the month of love.
yeah.
So next month is going to be we are going to make middle grade March like a regular thing for this channel. Like we're going to be reading middle grade book or a middle grade book
Hmm.
for the entirety of March, and then we will discuss it at the end of the month. And Heather has already chosen like what her book is going to be.
Yes. So middle grade March this time. We're doing something lighter. Going to middle grade after we've done grief and lust and all that. So we're doing Delilah
She already
versus the
has. I
Ghastly
wish I had a
Grin.
copy of it.
This I bought it last year. This is I never got around to it. I meant to read it last year. It came out in 2025. Um and I didn't get to it. So this is on my backlist books to read this year. And if I don't read them, then I have to give them away. So this looks like it's fun. It's more fantasy. The
Even
font is
though
big. It's a 276 pages. So apparently it's about a girl that has a seizure disorder and she's 12 and it opens things up and she's a protagonist and it's based on a real life person, a child that has
it's
Divette
based on
syndrome.
it's based on Lee McCoy, Drumdum's like granddaughter
Hmm.
Delilah, and his wife.
Yeah.
Actually, his wife is the one who wrote the book. And since we're going to be talking about this particular book, I'm going to I'm going to ask Lee if he would like to join us since it's his
Yeah.
life story, and I just like want to see like his thoughts on it. If he's like, because I know he has like a busy schedule with work and
I know.
everything. I was like, I'm gonna try to get him on this channel so we can talk about it because I want to read this book as well because it just sounds so cool. It
Hmm.
is like even though it does have like a real like his granddaughter does have like a real like seizure condition like this. So I would like to like know more about this book from like him and his wife if his wife chooses to join as well.
Yeah, I've read like the first couple of pages just to kind of get an idea. And I was like, oh man, it feels like this might pull on your heartstrings a little bit, especially if you have a child or if you have someone close to you that's younger that has like a medical condition. Because, like, one of the quotes I just saw is, oh, my parents have to worry more about what's wrong with me, and then there was a line that she was talking about her brain is broken. And I was like, that is so sad. But I don't know what it means yet. But she's got like this gray hair streak in her hair that reminds me of Rogue from like X-Men. So I don't know what that is. I'm excited to find that out. Yes, that's our book for March. So we're gonna do that the last Saturday of March, March 28th at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, 6 p.m. PST Pacific Time. So
And
that's the tentative schedule.
that falls on pretty perfectly because the Sunday after my my sister and my brother and her boyfriend, we are all planning a trip to Magic Mountain on that Sunday after. Unrelated.
Yeah. I was
We're
like,
just
so
going
we're
down to
trying to
mountain on
do
Sunday.
better
Huh?
about getting, because like we're trying to do better about picking the books, getting the books, reading the books, and doing it monthly. So far for 2026, we're 2 for 2 months of getting books in January and discussing them, getting books in February. So we got our March. So we'll have April's pick for the March show as well.
I gotta come up with
Yeah.
April. I gotta come up with a book to read for April. So yeah. So that's our book talk for half his age, everyone. Um, if you enjoy it, please let us know what you thought of the book, and do you guys like us just hearing us gab about stuff? I mean, we're just like two besties, just like have like a mutual love for books, and we like talking to you guys as well. If you guys like watching these live streams as well. So yeah, next month, I don't have the physical copy yet, but just like picture right here is Delilah versus the Ghastly Grimm. Um, we hope that you guys have a good night or morning or wherever you are. Um, I am Brandon the Beldam, and this is my co-host,
Head forehead, Heather.
and we will see you guys at the um. We will see you guys just next month when we do this again.
Mhm.
When we go to our next book. So have a great night, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye. End stream. The loud, awkward silence is unbearable.
I was like, is it still going? Are we still live? I don't know if we're still live. Peace out, weirdos.